Continue our team coverage this morning.
Let's get straight out to our Devon Roming, who's live in Houston and near the downtown area. Devon, what you seeing there?
Steph and Ron, good morning. Yeah, we're here in downtown Houston off of Clay Street. And if you take a look here to my right, you can see that the roads are very much iced over. And this is the story for a lot of the roads here in the downtown area. Many of them are iced over from the freeze that we saw overnight into this morning. And you know, for people who may be traveling into downtown, this is something that you want to take into consideration to take your time, because again, a lot of these roads are still iced over. And you know, these roads, they don't really get a lot of sun considering they're surrounded and lined by all these massive skyscrapers down here in the big parking garages. And so it may take a little while for the roadways here in downtown to thaw out. Another thing I want to point out is obviously this area is trafficked by a lot of pedestrians, a lot of people walking through downtown. You want to take your time and be very cautious and careful because the sidewalks are completely iced over and there's not any salt anywhere on any of the sidewalks, at least that we've walked through or walked on. Many of them are look just like this. They are iced over and it's very easy for anyone to be out here and slip. So we've seen people out here that have been walking their dogs this morning, basically taking their time, trying to be careful. And that's something that you want to take into consideration if you live down here or if you're going to be down here parking, you know, at one point in downtown Houston to walk to another. You definitely want to take that into consideration. Fortunately, though, the people that we have seen driving here in downtown Houston, we haven't seen anyone sliding or swerving or anything of that nature. People have been taking their time, but of course, it could be a different story in a couple hours from now once things start to pick up and downtown starts to come to life again after being shut down yesterday. We're live in downtown Houston. Devon Roming, KHOU 11 News.
It's not safe to be out on the roadways if we have icy conditions. You may find yourself in a situation where the roads may be fine, and then you get to a certain point where there's a patch of ice or there's a certain situation where it's dangerous, and it's just not worth it. It's not safe.
We call that a false sense of confidence. That was TxDOT's spokesperson, Danny Perez, with another reminder to stay home this morning.
Yeah, and now Matt Doherty looks at some of the trouble spots.
We're in West Houston near I-10 in the West Loop where road conditions are still dangerous. We saw multiple wrecks along 610 after the sun went down last night where vehicles had crashed into the walls of the freeway. From what we could see, most drivers were being cautious, traveling below the speed limit with hazard lights flashing. In some elevated spots, the ice on the freeway wasn't obvious, and on others, we could clearly see the thickly packed layer of snow and ice. TxDOT crews from throughout the state have been working overnight, scraping ice from the roadways and reapplying the brine solution that helps it melt. Officials are still advising residents to stay at home until at least this afternoon. However, that may not be possible for everyone.
All right, turning now to the weather's impact on your home. The hard freeze overnight can be an issue for pipes.
Yeah, Cheryl Mercedes continues our team coverage, and she's joining us live from the newsroom. Cheryl, what do people need to know this morning?
Well, Ron, Stephanie, there are some things you need to keep in mind, and some of them might seem like common sense, but when you're frustrated and really want to get that water flowing, well, you may need a reminder. Well, look for frost on the outside of the pipe first, and if you see water around it, like on the floor beneath it, or water stains on your walls, or yep, even the ceilings, that could be signs that there's a broken pipe somewhere. Low water pressure can also be an indicator. Another good gauge is if you spot a water puddle or two outside near the puddle after the sun has dried up all that ice and that water is still there.
Typically, if a water line has frozen and then is also ruptured, as soon as that water thaws out, they're gonna know it, because it's going to be a lot of water and it's going to be very loud and it's going to cause a lot of damage in a very, very short amount of time.
All right, if that happens, make sure that you turn off your water supply in your home. And if a pipe does burst, be sure to pick up the phone and call a plumber. And if you see any water main breaks anywhere in the city, remember, always call 311. Back to you.
All right, Cheryl, thank you. We have more coverage of the Arctic blast on our website, KHOU.com. All you have to do is text the word freeze to 713-526-1111, and we'll text you back with some helpful links.